Greg McElroy, the former quarterback for Nick Saban, came out today and stated some comments in reference to a return for his former head coach and Nick Saban making a return to coaching. The flame did not go away after Lane Kiffin, the ultimate troll, said that his former boss is getting back into coaching. Here's what I'm going to throw out there to you. Greg McElroy, 3.5 months before Nick Saban retired, middle of the season, there's a video that's circulating on Twitter of him going on his podcast and stating the following. I'm hearing that this is Coach Saban's last ride. This is kind of a little bit after the Texas loss, the UCF situation, the year that they made the playoffs. He said in the podcast, I've heard that Saban has told a couple of people very close to him that he's making one final hard push, and this is it. Joe, 3.5 months later, he retired. Here's what I'd say about reporting, and this is what I'd say about a guy like Greg McElroy. It's hard for us to believe, right? Mm-hmm. Same time, the man called his shot, and he hit. So this is this man's former quarterback, and the way that Greg went about it does beg the question for me. Now, Nick Saban's going to easily roll out here at SEC Media Days tomorrow or Wednesday and says, Miss Terry said I ain't coaching no more. And then we'll see.
Right.
I think that there is some legitimacy here from Nick. I really do. Because of the fact that he's always going to, regardless of what we believe, of what happens, there's always going to be some random ass AD who says, hey, I got to ask. And Joe, it's kind of like, I thought about this today a lot.
Okay.
It's like a fine girl in high school that you want to ask to prom. So what if she says no? You got to ask.
I don't know if I like that analogy, but I get what you're going
exactly
for.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you got to ask.
Like if you're in a position where you've got money to spend and you're a program like Arkansas that's got big chicken money, why not pick up the phone?
You
already got one of the best college basketball coaches leading your college basketball program in the history of the sport. Why not give it a swing? Say, hey, Nick, we'll Pete Carroll this thing up. Just 2 years. We just need 2 years out of you so you can build a foundation and then you can go back to retiring. We'll give you a stupid amount of money to do this. We don't know what amount that they're willing to
$20 million a year for Arkansas to get a national title worth it.
Well, and I don't know how quickly it would take for Arkansas to win a national title, but for at least to put down the foundation to build a situation for a successor to take over. Yeah. I think that here's my whole bit with it, though. And I think that until this man is off the earth, I think that until he's like 100 years old, he's going to get phone calls inquiring about him taking jobs. Yeah. I think that these rumors will pop up every so often because I think Nick's going to consider it. I think Nick's going to tell people that he had offers. I think Nick is going to say that he's like, oh, yeah, I still kind of want to coach. I'm not sure. But he's going to ultimately stay retired because he's at this point, and we saw how tired he was at that final season, and he talked about the strain that it had on him. This isn't like the Urban Meyer type of a retirement where it was for kind of health reasons, and you could see that when he was doing broadcasting that he still had a little bit of a desire within him, and it wasn't for fumbling away the Jaguars situation as badly as he did. He might have
sticking his thumb in a bunghole.
He might have given it a third try at a different college program if he had embarrassed himself so much, and I think he realized he can't get himself in that boat anymore. But I think that we're always going to have to deal with this. I really find it hard to believe that Saban, after finishing on top the way that he did, is going to give another program a chance. And I also said this to you pre-show, I doubt that he goes back to Alabama. Like, I doubt that if he did this, it would be to return to the program that he was leading for as long as he did.
All right, we're kind of already in the segment. I guess we could just
kind of jumped into it. So we just keep.
Well, I mean, how do you not lead into that? I mean, how do I not lead into that?
It's been dominating everybody's mind the whole day.
It has been. So let's kind of get into this here a little bit. Here's a couple of things like I mentioned, and I want to touch on this. I don't know if Greg McElroy is the dude who goes out there for, I don't want to say clickbaity stuff, for something like this, I don't think that this is so delicate of a situation that I just don't know if he would just run it out there. Just to run it out there. He had to have been told, and I don't think it was Lane Kiffin. I think Lane saw the news, and Lane is ultimately trolling this news to get the buzz going. But there's two schools of thought that I think could be happening here. As much as I don't believe that Greg McElroy, his former quarterback, is the one out here saying, hey, man, I just been told by Joe, he lives there. I mean, he's his quarterback, man. Like, I mean, the connections that he's going to have around this situation are massive. I think two things are in play here for me. Either number one, he legitimately has some soft sourcing on this and it's just pushing it out there for SEC media days, or the SEC and all of Greg Sankey's wisdom always likes the SEC media days to have a massive stir.
Oh, this is a conspiracy theory. This is the conspiracy theory right here. Okay.
All right. You want to go through the last 4 years of SEC media days and head storylines that came out of it? Like, as an example, we're moving into a 12-team playoff 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, Texas and Oklahoma are coming into the draft. Or last year, speaking of Saban, we're bringing Saban on, and we're going to use him as a consultant. See, people forgot that the SEC did hire the man as a consultant. See, here's the thing that I think about with Greg Sankey more than anybody. We'll talk about Greg Sankey next. Greg Sankey's a master at storylining. A master. He is the master of saying so much verbiage without it meaning absolutely anything. Nothing. It meant what he did today, what he said today meant absolutely nothing. Nothing got accomplished today. But you get to a place where every time we get to SEC media days, there's a massive storyline that comes out. Massive. Joe, we could go through 4 years of this. AKA, when they did an abbreviated thing in 2020, when they didn't do SEC media days, what did he say in the allotted time that he had on SEC Network? We are going to have a season. We are going to have a season. I just feel like the last 5 times I've gone through this, every time that you and I over the last 3 years have done this, there's always something massive that is coming out of SEC media days on day one, and here we are again.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I think that I don't know if we have evidence to prove this.
There is none.
No, there isn't. It's an interesting take, though. I think that Greg Sankey is a master at commanding attention. I think he's a master of understanding of how to shift narratives in his favor. So, yeah, having the ability to just throw out something like this and to convince McElroy to do it, it's a very interesting angle. I won't completely deny that that's not something that's on the table. I do, though, ultimately believe that there can be validity to this, but it's not a super serious actual thing that will occur. And I think the one thing that you brought up is the relationship that McElroy has with Saban. Not only was he one of his former quarterbacks, he's also a coworker. They're both employed by ESPN. You don't think that they're not communicating? There's not there's some chance.
I don't think Greg
the relationship
McElroy
is soured and they don't talk to one another. Why would he do something like this if that was even the case?
Non-conspiracy theory. There's no way you can convince me that Greg McElroy in a reality-based situation runs out there without telling Nick what he's about to do. There's no way you can convince me of that.
Well, maybe even if he did that, there's no world that he would say something like this in a week where it would command everybody's attention, say at the Feinbaum, and then to double down on this without knowing that it would piss off Nick. He would have apologized by now. He would have absolutely apologized by now if Nick reached out to him and said, why the hell would you do this? If this wasn't at least a little bit of buzz of him at least thinking about it.
Did you see Paul Feinbaum's face, by the way?
Feinbaum the whole day was shitting on McElroy. It was very, very funny. It was very funny.
Paul did have a funny day. The interview with Lane Kiffin's probably the best. It always is. I don't lean on the conspiracy theory, but I also know that these networks, as Joe, we've been in this for a while now, you and I. These networks will come to you and demand you to say something that you either you're going to tell them, no, we're not doing, or yes, okay, I am a yes man. I will do X, Y, and Z. Now, Believe does not do that to us. I'm not trying to insinuate that they don't tell us anything to say. But I also, what I'm saying is I've heard horror stories of people being told what they can and can't say. So there also gets that point. Here's the truth in reference to Saban. I think he has the itch. I don't think he has the want to. I think there's a massive difference. If it was just coaching, I think he'd be right back in there. Joe, he's getting up there in age, man. And this is what I don't want for Saban. As much as I would love for him to coach my team again, which, by the way, he got inducted to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame last week. It was emotional for a lot of LSU people. For an example, he turned the ship around. They're tied with second with Ohio State national championship since 2000. They're at 3. So is Ohio State. Nick Saban's the only one that beat him in that. He's the one that turned that ship. So as much as I would want and love for him to always come back, you know what I don't want more than anything? I don't want a Joe Paterno situation in reference to I'm watching a man withered down on my TV screen. You know what else this played out to for us too? Right in front of our eyes, Lee Corso. I don't want that for him. I don't want that legacy to be his legacy. But here's the thing: if he's going to give you 4 years, I'm paying him $100 million in 4 years to get this shit done.
Well,
Joe, hold on. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. We love Brian Kelly. I love Brian Kelly. You love Marcus Freeman. Those are our two schools, respectively. Your school, and this is not a shot. This is just to show what a fan base would do. Would you pay him $100 million for your school who has been there but hasn't gotten over the hump since 1988? I mean, you would do anything for you.
Yes.
All right. Now, I pause here to say this. That's what LSU did in 2000 when they went and got him. Like, people will do what I would do, whatever it took. I would move heaven and earth to get that man as my head coach.
I think that a lot of fan bases, I think a lot of fan bases would say yes to that. And I think that a lot of athletic departments would say yes that are desperate and want to win a national title, or at least redefine the direction of where their programs are going in. So many programs would love for just a touch of what Nick Saban could do in a short period of time. And to reiterate here, his age is up there, but it's not astronomically like out of the question for him to return to coaching. Pete Carroll's 73, Bill Belichick's 73. Is
Saban 73?
Saban is also 73. Mm-hmm. Nick Saban's also 73. So while he is at the very end, and he's a lot, I'm sounding so bleak. He's a lot older than he once was when he was a young, energetic coach in his 50s and even into his 60s. You saw that lack of energy that he had in his final few years coaching. He's probably not going to bring that suddenly because he took a couple of years off. If you signed up for him for 3 years until he's 76 and he retired again, I think a lot of programs would say yes to that. The age isn't completely out of the question, but you do bring up like a great point. I 100% agree with you. I, as an appreciator of college football, do not want to watch Nick Saban coach into his mid-80s. I don't think that he's going to be able to do that effectively, nor do I think he's going to do that with a lot of
grace.
Focus. A lot of grace. I think a lot of people, if you get to that age, you're going to think that you're going to be able to keep chugging forward, but it ultimately is tougher. You just brought up the Lee Corso example, and I also don't want to see him go somewhere and his legacy gets spoiled. Because say he does take somewhere over and they just suck. Like they're just above, like a little bit above 500, and he can't, for the life of him, outdo the difficult circumstance that he might have taken over. Because there are some programs where we think that they can throw enough money at solving a problem, but they're still just a bad school for producing good football. And I don't know who that is off the top of my head, but it's certainly possible for him to take a. But if you hire Nick Saban, you're going to open every single checkbook to sign every other athlete that you can. Like they'd have every 5-star if they wanted to.
I mean, I guess
they're doing it in basketball right now.
They are doing it in basketball. It's a little bit crazy. Joe, don't they have six of the top 50 players in the country?
I don't know enough about college basketball recruiting to know that off the top of my head, but I do know that they brought in most, great portal haul, a lot of the big name basketball recruits. They could. The only like joking example I can think of is if he went to his alma mater and he coached at Kent State, but
I was
that would be fun.
But the problem with that is they just hired a new head coach. I don't think that they're firing that early into this tenure. We'll see, man. At the ultimate thing of this, I just don't see Saban returning. But listen, I have massively enjoyed hearing his take every single Saturday. It's funny, Joe. 2 years ago, you and I came on here and like, bro, we don't watch College Game Day. We're not watching noon kickoff, whatever it is. We were making fun of them. Joe, it was must-watch TV with Pat McAfee and Nick Saban. Yeah. Must watch.
Yes.
I mean, like
so much better.
It's so much better. And then when he's out there making fun of Kirby, when he's out there making fun of Lane, when he's out there getting after their ass, and then he's getting after Sark and Kirby in the SEC title matchup, and they're putting him in between the both of them. He's like, I know one thing, y'all ain't calling the defenses that I told you to call. And he's like, I've loved every single second of it. I hope he doesn't do it. I will agree with you on one thing, but here's the thing. It's hard for me. Like you talked about him go somewhere and his legacy get tarnished. It's very, 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 very hard for me. I don't think it could be touched. He would have to go 0-50, and I still don't think it could be touched.
Well, yeah, sorry. Let me clarify. I'm not saying that he could show up and it's like, oh, Nick Saban's trash. Like, look at what he did. Like, no one's going to be crazy enough to do that. But it's just like that lasting thought. That lasting thought where you're like, well, we know he's the greatest coach of all time, but you remember when he had that really bad brief stint where he just wasn't very good at the end? I'm trying to think of like a good example because there's not a lot of coaches that do the retire, unretire dance. Brett Favre comes to mind, but he still finished great with the Vikings, and then the last year after that was awful. But that's kind of a decent example. It was like the last year of the Vikings.
Player. And that's a player.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, listen, I somebody said this on Twitter. A Bama fan said this on Twitter. Now, I cannot confirm this. Let me say that before I get in there. Bama, okay. Do you know who Greg McElroy's alleged agent is?
Is it Sexton?
Allegedly.
Wait, he doesn't do media stuff, though.
Apparently, if you ask Bama people, that there are
what does that mean?
I don't know.
I know this isn't you. This is someone on Twitter. That means nothing to me.
Apparently,
yes, Bama people.
Apparently, Sexton has done some things for former Bama players because Nick has asked. Now, I don't know if that's legit or not, but even if, I will say this, which made me think of it. I don't know if any of that's true. This does have Sexton's fingers all over it. It's got his fingers all over it. If you think about the retirement, if you think about Sark, if you think about Norvell, if you think about DeBoer, if you think about all the coaches that got massively paid, Kiffin, boy, this sounds familiar, doesn't it? A story believable enough that anybody would go out there and say, oh, well, you know what? It's Greg McElroy. This makes a lot of sense. This does feel like it's got some Sexton fingers all over it, too.
Well, you're right. This is something that Sexton would do where he would plant a seed in order to create an opportunity for one of his clients to build something off it. Here's another part of this. Is this all some big play in order for him to get a gigantic contract from ESPN?
Bingo.
Like that's the other part about this, that he could be planting the seed so that McElroy runs and reports it. Again, there has been no counterclaim from Nick Saban or a correction from McElroy. Nothing. The whole day. We went the whole day without anything. Is Saban supposed to show up at SEC meet? Like, when is the next time we're going to see
there
him?
Today. He was supposed to have a sit down with Brian Kelly, allegedly.
When is he? Does anyone know when he's coming?
I don't know. Again, this has Sexton's fingers all over it. Again, Sexton calls Greg and says, listen, Paul's going to give you shit tomorrow, but you're going to run out here and say this, and we're going to do something for you on the back end.
It has to be ESPN related. I think
it's got to be. It's got to be. But when there's smoke, there's fire in some situations. But for me, the ultimate thing is we turn the page on this. Jimmy Sexton's a dog. And I want him representing Ruffino and Joe Show.
Oh, stop it.
50% of all of our future earnings.
Don't sell that away.
No, if he going to move like this, Joe, 50% of $20 million is more than what we're making right now.
If we're worth $20 million, I ain't giving away half of it. A normal agent fee is 15%.
You're going online doing diets, eating ramen noodles. $10 million a year. You
diets, eating ramen noodles. We did the video coming tomorrow morning. By the way, the Gennings Dunker diet. That was fun.
God, this is so fun.
No, stop it. 50%. I'm not letting you negotiate it. I'm not letting you negotiate anything if that's your logic there. By the way,
as frugal as I am, do you?